Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Premier League predictions yet again. We are back for Premier League games in midweek and I'm joined by Sophie. What did you make of the Easter football?
It was absolutely bonkers, wasn't it?
Yeah, massive games in the title race and in the relegation battle. There is so much to catch up on. Before we get into the predictions, guys, do make sure to show some support on this video. We smashed 2,000 likes on the last video, so let's do it again. 2,000 likes. It's free to hit the thumbs up button, so why wouldn't you do it? And if you're someone who's watching that's not subscribed yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button. It's free to do. All you have to do is click the subscribe button. And as I say, we're this close to 61,000 subscribers now, so get involved. The final thing to mention, Sophie, these are the scores from last week. Neither of us really got many points, actually. And these are the scores overall. I've still got some catching up to do, to be honest. With all of that said, let's get into some Premier League predictions. And we're going to start at St James's Park. First up, it is Newcastle United versus Everton. Now, both sides were involved in games that had late goals. Let's start with Newcastle, Sophie. Crazy game against West Ham.
Yeah, I didn't think there'd be that many goals, that much drama. What a game.
Honestly, I mean, I didn't even know how to feel about that game. Newcastle went 1-0 up, and then West Ham went 3-1 up, and then Newcastle came back and won 4-3, and then there was a red card at the end as well. Yes. It had everything. Great result for Newcastle, though, because obviously they're out of all the cup competitions. They've got to focus on finishing as high as they can in the Premier League. Hopefully, for them, they're going to try and still get some European football come the end of the season. I must say, an incredible goal from Harvey Barnes to win the game. The last goal was really good.
Yeah, it was.
As for Everton, Sophie, they were involved in a 2-1 defeat at Bournemouth, and I thought they'd done enough to get a draw, to be honest. Beto scored with a couple minutes to go, and then Seamus Coleman scored the worst own goal I've ever seen. What happened?
Honestly, it was just so poor. I've got no words to describe it.
He just didn't seem to set himself. The ball came at him, and he just sort of went to control it, and
into his own net.
Yeah, when you're facing your own goal with no goalkeeper, it's a bit strange, I must say. And dropping that point right at the end could be crucial. Yeah. It could be absolutely disastrous at the end of the season if Everton are to go down by 1 point. But let's see. As for predicting this one, Sophie, I'm going to go for Newcastle 2, Everton 1.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the same. What I think might hurt Newcastle is they're going to be without Gordon for this game, and that is a big miss for them.
Against his former team.
I know, so be bang up for it, but maybe that's why he got the red.
He didn't want to play him.
He didn't want to play him. No, yeah, Everton, they shot themselves in the foot. Equally, I thought Newcastle blew the 3 points when they went 1-0 up, and as you say, went 3-1 down, but then to turn it around the way they did, it was a bonkers game, so I am going to go for the same scoreline as you and back the Magpies. 2-1.
2-1 to Newcastle. They both need something. They've both got quite a bit to fight for, so it should be a good game. On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to the City Ground, where it is Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. Now, both of these sides, Sophie, were involved in draws at the weekend. And let's start with Forest. They drew at home to Palace, which is okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Yeah. The thing is, what was quite interesting in the Premier League relegation battle is all three of the teams in the bottom three didn't lose. They all picked up a draw. And we'll come on to Sheffield United and Burnley in a bit. But the two teams above the bottom three, Luton and Everton, lost. And it's actually seen Forest just go ahead of Luton on goal difference. It's so close that even draws could be crucial at this stage. They take on Fulham, Sophie, who are one of those few teams that potentially don't have anything to play for, but it didn't seem that way when they went to Sheffield United and gave it a real go. I mean, the Fulham fans will be thinking, it's Sheffield United, we should have won that game, but let's give Sheffield United some credit. They played quite well, but Fulham came back right at the end and there was an overhead kick to make it 3-3. Crazy game. I must also say I was actually quite a big fan of Chris Wood's goal for Nottingham Forest, improvising with that header. I think this could be a draw, Sophie, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for Forest.
Again.
I think the thing is, if they come away from these two home games with 2 draws, it's not enough. They have to make it 4 points now. A draw against Palace is okay if they can win this one. Yes. And I think they might be able to. With it being at the City Ground, I'm going to say 2-1 to Forest.
Okay, I'm not as confident, to be honest. I think it might be another draw. As you said with Fulham, they've not got anything to play for, so Forest are fighting for it. But sometimes teams that don't have anything to play for, they play with that freedom, and it works quite well. Didn't work amazing in their last result, but they did rescue a point, so I think they're going to get a point here as well. 1-1.
Yep, okay.
Another 1-1.
Is that a good result for Forest?
No. I wouldn't say it's good. It's not disastrous, but it's not a good result.
It looks like it really could be neck and neck. The thing is, they're just, none of them are getting a move on.
No.
They're all kind of very slow.
Yeah, they're not putting a good run together, are they?
Yeah, it's very slow down at the bottom. On to the next one, Sophie. It's AFC Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace. Now, AFC Bournemouth, as we said, they beat Everton due to a brilliant own goal from Seamus Coleman. Palace, they got that 1-1 draw at Forest. Both sides are side by side in the table, and Bournemouth, I think they're going to be safe. They've got enough points. Palace, they got an extra point on their tally, so they've hit 30 points now. I think they'll probably be safe unless they lost every game, to be honest, which I don't see happening. As for this one, I think I'm just going to go with Bournemouth. They're one place higher than Palace in the table. They've got the home advantage, and they've got Solanke, really. I'm going to go Bournemouth 2-0 on this one.
Oh, okay. I was tempted to say another 1-1, to be honest. I think Palace, on their day, are more than capable of picking up a draw here. But, yeah, I am going to back Bournemouth as well. I'm going to say 1-0.
Yeah.
So not quite as convincing, but still, I think Bournemouth will edge it, being a home side.
Yeah, I think with the Cherries, you just can't underestimate them, can
No.
you? And maybe I have done a little bit recently because they've been back to winning ways, beating Luton and Everton.
Yeah.
Palace aren't a bad team, but yeah, I just think Bournemouth will have that one. On to the next one. Let's go to Turf Moor, Sophie. Burnley take on Wolves. Now, in the last video, I said Burnley, it's not over for them just yet. And you were kind of like, it is, it's over.
Yeah.
They got 2-2 at Chelsea with 10 men. Does that make you think they might still make it?
Yeah, weirdly enough, when Company got sent off, they seemed to play a little bit better.
Well, they were down to 10 men on the pitch.
Down to 10 men without their manager on the touchline, and they rescued a point.
Yeah, there has been better signs from Burnley recently. I've noticed the performances have just cranked up a little bit, and the results have too. It could be just too late, but it might not be. And 5 points in the last three games unbeaten, is pretty good when you consider the quality down there is not very good. You know, if you can stick 4 or 5 points together in a row, you will start moving. And I think they've got to be looking at this thinking, we can win this, because Wolves, Sophie, they're not in a great moment, are they? I mean, obviously they lost to Coventry in the FA Cup before the international break. They've come back and lost 2-0 to Villa.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not the end of the world for Wolves, and they might find themselves going back to winning ways in this one. I think Burnley might get something. I'm going to go for a draw. I think Wolves are a solid enough team to get a draw out of this. I'm going to go 2-2. I think Burnley have been pretty open. I think they're going to score. I think they're going to concede. Going to go for a Desmond. And a draw's not terrible for Burnley. A win would be huge, but I think Wolves will get something.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think Burnley being the home side, they might have slight advantage, and Wolves haven't been in the best form, but I don't see them losing this one either. So I think it could be a fairly evenly matched game right now. So 1-1 for me.
1-1. Is a draw good enough for Burnley?
It's a point, but I don't know if it's good enough. Do you know what I mean?
It's so close down there.
Keep asking me and I don't have an outright answer.
I know. I think the thing is, Sophie, this season, 30 points might be enough to keep you up. So it's going to be a weird one. It's not often you need that few points to stay up, but there you go. On to the next one. It's a derby in London. It's West Ham United versus Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Tottenham, I did back to beat Luton 2-1, and they did. And they're making a habit of coming from behind in some games.
Yeah, they're making it hard for themselves.
I think they're going to concede, but I think they're going to win. West Ham United will be looking to pick themselves up, and it's really not great that, I mean, Sophie, losing to Newcastle like that, and really could have big effects to West Ham's league positioning at the end of the season, because there's not a lot between those two in the table. They've also got the Europa League games coming up against Bayer Leverkusen, and April's going to be tough for West Ham. But they are a decent team. But on this occasion, I am going to say Spurs. West Ham 1, Spurs 2.
Yeah, you backed that last time, and I backed 3-2 last time, and yours came in, obviously. But I think there could be a few more goals. I'm going to go 3-2 Spurs again. I think West Ham are more than capable of getting 2 goals here, but Spurs do have that in them to turn a game around and walk away with the 3 points, which is the main thing at the end of the day. So I can see that happening again. 3-2 Spurs.
3-2. Sounds a really decent game, that one. Yeah, I think both teams score. I think we're agreed on that. On to the next one, Sophie. Sticking in the capital, we're going to go across to the Emirates, where it's Arsenal versus Luton Town. Now, as for Arsenal, Sophie, a great result at Man City, getting a draw, keeps them, right in the mix.
Yeah, it does.
And as for Luton Town, Sophie, as we said, they lost to Tottenham. Some encouraging signs there. They took the lead.
They did.
Yeah.
But then lost.
Tahith Chong got a goal. They've been competitive all season, and
they're good at scoring as well.
They are.
That's not their issue.
I think, once again, I'm going to go both teams to score on this one. Make this a little bit harder for Luton than going to Spurs.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal have just got that bit more. I mean, that's why they're in the title race this season. Let's go Arsenal 3, Luton 1.
That's weird. I'm actually going the exact same scoreline. I don't know if Luton are going to score first or get a consolation, but I do see them scoring at some point. But for me, it's got to be an Arsenal win. They can't not win this one. It's a must win, and I actually see it happening. So as you say, 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, if Arsenal drop points in this game, it's a disaster.
That is a disaster.
And that's no disrespect to Luton, because Luton Town have every chance of staying up this season. But as we said,
pure quality of Arsenal right now.
As we said, Luton have got Spurs away, Arsenal away, Man City away. Once this game is done, they'll have ticked off 2 of those 3, and the games get a little bit easier for them. On to the next one, Sophie. It's Brentford versus Brighton. I always find this one like a close matchup. It's the battle of the 2 very well-run clubs that have got to the Premier League and look very comfortable there.
Yeah, they do.
Now, obviously, this season, Brighton are quite a bit further up the table than Brentford. Brighton didn't get a result at Anfield, but I didn't think they would. Liverpool are going for the title, of course. Brentford, on the other hand, Sophie, Brentford got a draw against Manchester United. Now, they did score late on after Manchester United had scored late on, but it really didn't reflect the game. I thought Brentford could have won that.
Yeah, they had some good chances. Ivan Toney himself had loads of chances. He just didn't take them. But yeah, their fans must be like, oh, we've only got a point from that. Not great.
And it makes you think, well, then maybe that's why Brentford are where they are, because I've never looked at them this season and thought, oh, they've turned bad. They're a good team. They've got a really good manager in Thomas Frank. They've now got, the prolific striker Ivan Toney back. But obviously, if you don't take your chances, you're not going to win games, you're not going to climb the table, and you're going to stay where you are. I don't think they'll go down, but they've still not put enough distance between them and the bottom 3.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for a draw. I feel like I always predict a draw when it's Brentford v Brighton, but there's not a lot between them. Brentford have the home advantage. Brighton are a decent team. They're a bit further up the table. I'll go 1-1.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty fair. I was tempted to say a 1-1 as well, but I feel like Brentford might have a point to prove now after that Man United game. And being the home side, they really need the 3 points. There's definitely promising signs there. So for me, Brentford are going to win this. They're just going to edge it, though. 1-0.
1-0 to the Bees. Yeah, and do you think you stay up?
What, Brentford? Yeah.
Should do. They're not safe yet, as we said, but
they're pretty safe.
Another win should put quite a bit of distance between them and the bottom 3, who are not really moving very fast. On to the next one, Sophie. An interesting matchup as we go to the Etihad. It's Manchester City versus Aston Villa. Now, as we said, Sophie, Manchester City failed to beat Arsenal, which is a disaster when you think their games are running out.
And them being the home side as well.
Absolutely. They take on Aston Villa, who, as we said, beat Wolves at the weekend. And honestly, this is a really tough matchup for Man City. Villa have been really good this season, and let's not forget, Villa did win at Villa Park against Man City.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different kettle of fish at the Etihad, but I even think in seasons gone by, Villa have gone to Man City and given them a game, and this time round, they could maybe get something. That said, it's Man City, innit? They have to win. I mean, once again, no disrespect to Villa, but if you're in the title race, you're going to have to almost win every game now to win the title, because the standards are so high. Villa, as I say, trying to hold on to 4th place. This game, for me, won't define if they get it, unless they get a win, obviously, which would make me think they're definitely going to get it. But if they lose, it's not a disaster. I think Man City edge it 2-1.
Yeah, I actually think Villa are more than capable of getting a draw here. I'm not going to say win and put my neck out, but I will say they are capable of getting a draw.
Yeah.
And I was half tempted to say that after Man City dropped points against Arsenal. Man City being at home, I am going to edge them. I do think it's going to be quite a close game. So I agree. 2-1, Man City.
Yeah. It's a difficult one, that, isn't it? It's like a very, very, very good team versus a very good team.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Villa are very good. Man City are very, very good. On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to Anfield, where it is Liverpool versus Sheffield United. Now, as we said, Liverpool back to winning ways as we return to the Premier League as they beat Brighton at the weekend. They'll have also had one eye on the Manchester City Arsenal result, of course. Liverpool take on Sheffield United here, and I want to give Sheffield United some credit, but it must be so frustrating because they went 3-1 up. They actually went 4-1 up, but the fourth goal was disallowed.
Yeah.
And then drew 3-3 against Fulham. I mean, even if they'd have won that, it'd have been difficult to see them staying up, but it'd have given them more of a chance. But if you can't win a game that you were 3-1 up in with not long to go,
it's not great.
At home to a team with not a lot to play for, then it kind of says it all, doesn't it?
In fairness, Luton did it a few weeks ago, but actually lost it to Bournemouth. So it's why they're down there, both teams.
Exactly. And like I say, we'll give Sheffield United credit for getting 3 goals and giving it a go. But ultimately, defensively, it's just not good enough. And it's hard to see Sheffield United getting anything here. I'm going to go Liverpool 3-0.
Oh, okay, I'm going to go 3-1. I will give Sheffield United a goal. I know we've said there's some promising signs in Sheffield United's last game, which there were, but not enough to get anything from this. So 3-1 Liverpool. 3-1
Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I must say that Liverpool's next game in the Premier League after this, Sophie, is Manchester United away. And of course, Manchester United will be doing everything they can to stop Liverpool winning the Premier League. So the title race is going to be crazy. Stay here to see what happens. On to the final game, and it does involve Manchester United as they go away to Chelsea.
Two poor performances from these teams in the last game.
2 of the so-called Big Six that are not really performing like a top 6 team.
Yeah.
Manchester United are further up the table, but Chelsea have the home advantage. Now, both sides were involved in a draw against teams in the bottom 6 at the weekend. Let's start with Chelsea. I mean, a real missed opportunity being at home to Burnley against 10 men.
Against 10 men,
without a manager.
Yeah, not great.
As we said, credit to Burnley, but Chelsea, what are you doing?
Yes.
One bright thing from this season is Cole Palmer.
True.
And what a penalty against Burnley. Really cheeky as he chipped it down the middle. They take on Manchester United, Sophie. As we said, they drew 1-1 with Brentford. Really could have lost, but then they really could have won at the end as well. I mean, even though they didn't deserve to win based on the performance, Manchester United fans should be really angry that they scored so close to the end, but still couldn't get the win over the line. I got to be honest, I can't really separate them.
No,
if it was at Old Trafford, I might lean towards Man United. With it being at the Bridge, I think Chelsea might win, but I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go Chelsea 2, Man United 2. I think it'd be a decent game, you know, because they're both a bit vulnerable at the back. Both got good attacking players, but they don't really seem to put it together. I'm going for a draw.
Yeah, I'm going for a draw as well, but a couple less goals. I'm just going to say 1-1 and sit on the fence. And just going off both their last results, it wasn't great, and I feel like it's going to be another semi-poor game, so 1-1.
Semi-poor game.
Yeah.
Interesting. If Manchester United play like they did against Brentford in this game and in the FA Cup semi-final,
bring on Wembley.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? There you go, guys. That wraps up our Premier League predictions for yet another week. And honestly, there's not long left to go. The season will be coming to a close soon. Make sure to get involved. Get your predictions down in the comments. Make sure to drop a like as we go for 2,000 likes. And make sure to subscribe. We are as consistent as we can be with our Premier League and Championship predictions. So subscribe and you'll see us when we release some more. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.